Just let me know when to go.
Okay.
My shirt almost matches the background.
We are broadcasting live right now.
Okay.
Welcome to anyone joining us on Zoom. We're gonna Facebook. We're gonna stream to Facebook right now and get started. Mm, All right, we're streaming live to Facebook.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my normal coffee. This used to be our coffee hour. We sit down and talk. Our office hours at the. Hope everybody received my August newsletter. It was full of updates on public safety and a lot more. Uh, I wanted to start by first updating everyone about what happened at council. In fact, it took the whole entire day. We didn't finish till almost 10 o'clock at night. So we decided to put a couple things on the ballot. And so in November, voters will vote on a card room measure to generate more taxes for the city of San Jose to allow and it allow the card rooms to expand by 30 tables in their facilities. There's only 2 card rooms, and we hope to generate a lot of taxes from the card rooms, and it'll go to any services. This is general fund taxes. Card rooms are already some of the largest funders of city taxes. In fact, maybe the largest funder of city taxes in the city of San Jose. Voters will also vote to approve changes to the city charter. So there's a lot of charters that are being put into one ballot measure, and the ballot measure has 3 parts to it. One part will enhance the powers of the independent police auditor to be able to review all use of force incidents and have greater access to investigative documents. And this will help us alleviate a lot of the distrust, we hope. Other changes include to allow the redistricting schedule to be adjusted based upon any delays to the census caused by COVID-19. Now, redistricting happens once every 10 years after the census is done, and then we get to draw the lines of each council district. Now, we have 10 districts in the city of San Jose. I'm lucky enough to lead in district number 10. And every year, depending on the size of the population, we expand, and we've expanded every 10 years. Expand the borders or reduce the borders depending on the population growth in each district. There's actually going to be a committee coming together to do exactly that. Stay tuned. Maybe it won't happen under my leadership. Next, under Matt Mayhem, we can join this committee to draw the borders of District 10. And the last charter change is going to be to resize the planning commission. Right now it's 7. We're going to change it to 11, and it's going to be by district. So each district will have potential to have, like a geodiversity, make sure that each district is represented on the planning commission. I'll also be sending out information about upcoming meetings, about the changes to the general plan. Now, this is something that's extremely important. The general plan 2040 task force is looking at allowing higher density of housing within existing single-family home zoned areas like ours. It'll allow for things like duplexes and triplexes and fourplexes. So if you're interested in this topic, you might want to join these meetings. I'll be sending those out shortly. Things that are on the horizon at City Hall. The City of San Jose has just finished a commercial linkage fee study, and they determined that we can charge fees to incoming commercial developers now for brand new commercial projects. And the recommendation that these fees would go towards building affordable housing in San Jose. But I think on the other side, if we charge a whole lot of fees to incoming employers, we may not get any incoming employers interested in coming to San Jose. And by the way, employers are the ones who pay the most taxes It's not residents. In fact, residents um, pay us a lot less taxes than they generate in needs of services for the most part. And quite frankly, it could slow down some of the major projects that we were looking for, especially in the downtown area. And we already have a housing employment imbalance in the city of San Jose. I think it could exacerbate that. So I'm giving you guys a heads up on that. I might, for me, it's a no-go, even though this is another way to generate tax revenues. I think it's not good to scare away our incoming employers, ones that pay the most taxes anyway. From our parks are being used more than ever. And so we need volunteers to help clean them up. And our Parks Department is doing a COVID safe park beautification events all over the city. And if we'd love for you guys to get involved, either call Michelle from my office or visit the city's website and look for the Adopt a Park program. Now, there's a lot less volunteers right now because I know that we're all scared, but we're doing these things safely. We're going to be providing masks and tools and keeping everybody 6 feet apart, but we do need some help because our parks are being used a lot, and rightfully so, because we're all in place. So we need to get outdoors every once in a while. The District 10 Leadership Coalition is working with residents to start and strengthen neighborhood associations. If you're interested in talking with them, send them an email to D10 Leadership Coalition at Gmail, and somebody from my office is going to be putting that up on the chat area, and we'll be putting up that in our other news feed. We do want to strengthen communities. We want to have all of you be heard. And so D10 Leadership Coalition at gmail.com. And I've heard from many people complaining about the city's tree policy, by the way. The arborist is working with to make changes so that we can, and they want to hear from you. So please take the survey that was mentioned in my last newsletter. My newsletter is posted on Nextdoor. If you don't get it already, you can go to my office and you can call my. I'll send you a link to the survey. So please do take the survey, especially if you had issues with trees in your area or the process of removing trees or planting trees. Please let us know your opinion about this. Well, that's the end of my updates, and as is customary, I usually, I always want to listen to you. That was the purpose of this meeting. So I want to hear from you. There's a box that says Q&A if you're on Zoom, and if you're on Facebook, you can submit your questions, and one of my staff members will actually read them and try to and give them to me and try to answer them. So Adrian's one of my great interns. He's been fantastic, and he's helping me today. Adrian, do we have questions from the public?
We do have one question, and it's from Sandra on Nextdoor. The question says, I want to vote in person, and if ordinary citizens can make it safe for me to shop at Lucky's, go to the bank or the post office, then why can't I make it safe for me to vote in person?
Well, you're going to have an opportunity to vote. You vote with your ballot. You're going to get mailed a ballot, and you can drop it off in person. So there won't be these machines and in-person machines, but you will be able to take your ballot to a designated facility, much like we did last time. These are questions best asked to the county. The county registrar's office is the ones that the county supervisors and registrar office that decided to go fully vote by mail ballot. But it's not truly vote by mail. You could take your ballot directly to the voting facility and vote there. If you've lost your ballot, you can go there and request a new one, and you could even register to vote. Now, these sites are going to be open 3 weeks in advance of the election, so you'll have plenty of time to go in person. And so these rules have changed to allow for more voting. So please contact them if you have questions, but you can go in person and drop off your ballot or request one.
Sounds great.
All right.
Our next question is from Anne on Zoom, and her question is, when will homeless camps at 85 and Almaden Expressway be cleaned up and services offered?
Well, so, we have our staff allowing for porta potties to be at these sites, and I've made several requests to have that site and the one along Highway 87 on the bike trail near Branham cleaned up. Unfortunately, the governor issued an order not to allow us to remove encampments, and so the people there will be there, and we're just looking for ways to clean up the facilities faster. Most of these facilities are cleaned up by Caltrans because they're on highway property. I know that this sounds like an excuse, and it sounds like an excuse to me, but it is something that you need to understand. It's not city property, and we have to have permission to go on it, to even go on it. So these encampments will stay. We're doing our best to try to help Caltrans clean them up, and some people, unfortunately, have taken matters in their own hands and started cleaning them up themselves. I don't recommend that, but I could tell you that my staff and I are pushing for more cleanups of these encampments almost on a daily basis. The ones that are on city properties, we are cleaning up. The ones that are not on our city properties, we're doing our best to accommodate, trying to facilitate some cleanups. That's a question that's being asked more and more.
Great, thanks. The next question is similar. Kevin from Zoom wants to know, how about the encampment on Blossom River Drive near Blossom Hill Road near Pier 1?
Well, believe it or not, technically that is not in District 10, but I have called on that encampment as well. That is Water District property. And again, I know, Kevin, I know this sounds like an excuse, and it is an excuse in some respect, but that's Water District property. We also have to have permission to go on there. If it's blocked, I just saw you text that's blocking the city sidewalk. I'll have my staff take that caveat there and see if we can at least clear out the city sidewalk, because the sidewalks are not supposed to be a part of the governor's order to allow them to stay in place. So I think the Water District and all the other government agencies are just taking the governor's order as we do nothing with these encampments. The city is doing cleanups on city property, so we could take that. If it's blocking a city sidewalk, we could definitely take care of that. If it's not on city property, we have to get permission, and that's a long process. But please voice your concern to the Water District on this. And by the way, there's a lot more encampments along Water District properties all over our city. And I can tell you that we're spending lots of money housing people in hotels that are unhoused, and that effort seems to be sometimes a little unfruitful. Some of these folks don't want to live by the rules that we require to have them in the hotels, and a lot of them need a lot of drug addiction treatment and mental health treatment. Those are the county's responsibilities. I wish the county was doing a lot more. They say they're going to do a lot more, but I don't see progress, unfortunately, and it's a shame. So I do sympathize, Kevin and Ann. We are doing our best, at least on city property, and we'll continue to advocate for more cleanups and better services from the Water District and Caltrans. It would be great for you guys to call people who have access to Caltrans, like our state assembly or the state senators in the area. So if you live in my district, you have a couple of state assembly members, Osh Kalra, um, and Evan Lowe and Mark Stone. We actually have 3 assembly members, and we have 1 Senator Bell for our district. So if call those for Caltrans issues, call those folks and ask them to do more cleanups. And it would help, actually would add to our voice, because our voice shouldn't be alone. Citizen, you guys voted for these folks too. You should ask them to do their jobs. And as far as the water district's concerned, we also have elected officials in the water district, and you can call them as well to help, to ask them to do more services, at least provide porta potties and clean up for the folks that are encamping in those areas. At least, and it'll keep the rivers clean, I imagine. So, questions? Any more questions, Adrian?
We do have one coming in from Facebook from Mark, and this seems like a registrar question, but we'll still ask it. The question is, who verifies completed ballots that are received are not duplicates or from unregistered voters, and how long does that process take?
These are great questions for the voter registrar's office. I am not in the know on these questions. I know that the voter registrar is in charge of all voter activity, whether it is printing the ballots, distributing the ballots, counting the ballots. I've often had many issues with them, but those questions are better asked for them. I don't want to give you answers that I don't know. I know that there's some kind of computer verification and an automatic computer verification when they scan the ballots into the system. That's pretty much the extent of my knowledge on that.
And we'll add, this is Amel from the Councilmember staff. We'll add that link on Facebook, the Registrar of Voters. It's through the Santa Clara County website, but we will add that for everyone to access. And we have a few more questions coming in. Go ahead, Adrian.
Great. So the next question is from Anne on Zoom, and her question is, are recycling centers open?
I know that a couple are. I think that there's a lot less that are open, and that's something that my staff can look up for you. Those are also state government run or ordered facilities. And I know that our staff can research that question. I'm sorry, Anne, I wish I had an answer for you directly. I heard that a couple are, but that's hearsay. Let me have my staff look that up and email you back or contact you back, and we'll let you know. Maybe we'll even put it in our next newsletter, because I know that you're not the only person that is concerned with our recycling centers. We've had them reduced quite a bit, and we are and quite frankly, the government is collecting 5 cents per bottle, and if you can't return it, it's taxation without it's basically becomes a tax, and nobody ever voted for this tax. So good question. We'll answer you as soon as we can. Maybe we could even look it up while we're on the while we're on this conference with my staff in the background. Maybe Danelle or Amal or Adrian could look it up and get back to us. Any more questions, Adrian?
We do not have any more questions for now, but we'll put out an open call for any more questions to come in through Zoom or Facebook to the attendees.
And sorry, we do have one more question that just came up from Facebook. So let's go there. I'm sorry, Adrian. Let's get that question. It's from Donna. It says, what is going on with the trailers by Kelly Park?
Well, the trailers are no longer going to be in use. That project kind of failed. Unfortunately, we received these trailers from FEMA. They were used trailers. We were trying to put up people who were homeless, potentially COVID infected folks into those trailers. When we received them, they were in extreme disarray, and we put $1 million+ into fixing them up, and we were able to fix up about 40 of them. Now that project was it was getting too expensive for us to handle, and we gave up on it. We decided to go with a hotel model instead. And the trailers are going to be donated to the Riverside area. They have requested the trailers, and as soon as they can pick them up, they're going to be leaving that area and going to Riverside, in Southern California, and they're going to be used as emergency COVID backup shelters. So they're not going to be used for temporary housing. They're just used for emergency backup shelters for people who are infected with COVID if the hospitals get too busy. So that's a great question. We did a whole meeting about it. We had a long discussion about this at City Hall. And I know that some people are angry that we spent over $1 million fixing them up, but sometimes it takes an experiment. We're doing our best to think outside the box on ways that we can house people fast, and this was one of the experiments that just didn't work out. It sounded good, really sounded good at the beginning, but in practice it wasn't a good idea. There was a lot of need for electricity that we couldn't handle with that many trailers. There was a lot of sewage issues that we couldn't handle in that parking lot. So there was, and water and sewage and electricity. There was a lot of things that turned out to be extremely difficult to deal with that project. So they're going to be going away soon.
All right, and we have a question from Bill on Zoom, and the question is, do you know if PG&E's planned update of the South Almaden grid will or will not cut power during the PSPS to houses with underground power?
Well, I don't know that answer. We can talk to PG&E. I don't think that the upgrade in the infrastructure in San Jose or the undergrounding even is going to have an effect, because the reason why we have the power shutoffs is because of high winds somewhere else. So we transport most of our electricity from other places. Obviously, you guys know we don't have a home as a power generation plant, so we actually import the power from hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles away from other states in Southern California and what have you. So this energy has to be shipped up here, and the power safety shutoffs are, with high wind, high heat situations. Even if your cables are undergrounded, you'll still be affected because this is only local wires. It's not the long distance wires that bring in the electricity. So that's the extent to my knowledge there. I'm not an expert at PG&E issues, but I think I asked the same question of PG&E once, and they said that it's not about it's not about the end user area. It's about the transportation from the source. That's the issue.
All right, and we will once again ask attendees for any questions they have.
Looks like we do have information that we just posted on recycling. We just put that on the Zoom chat, if you are on it.
As well as Facebook.
As well as Facebook.
Oh,
And
we
we have one more question. Go ahead, Adrian.
We have a question from Francisco on Zoom, and the question says, our kid's preschool is opening in August, and we are anxious with the choice to let our kid attend in person. Who regulates how preschools need to reopen?
That would be your school district. And if you live in my area, actually technically I have 3 school districts in my area. One of them is San Jose Unified. That's the biggest one in my area.
And we have, Francisco,
unless it's a private preschool. Sorry, go ahead.
We have Francisco on the line. So, Francisco, I'm going to unmute you and we can ask you what school district, if it is a school, if you have other children in the school district as well. Francisco, are you
Yeah.
okay? Go ahead.
I
What?
think you're muted. I think Francisco's muted.
Okay.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
what
Yeah.
school district?
So,
or
yeah,
if
it is a private preschool in Almaden Valley.
Okay, so if it's a private preschool, the county's health department allows, I think, up to 12. I'm not sure, is either 12 or 20 kids per preschool maximum. And so there is some guidelines that are being disseminated from the county's health department that is determining, the use of private preschools. So that's being done by the county's health department. And I think we could put up a link to the county's website and how to find out more about the guidelines in your area. So if you're nervous about sending your kids to preschool, then don't. But I know that a lot of families have to, because they have two working parents and they have to be out of the house, and so it's a choice you have to make. But it is allowed under the county, and there are restrictions as to how many children per preschool that are allowed.
Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure, Francisco. Thanks for dialing in.
Great. And Amal just went ahead and posted information about voting in the Zoom chat for those who had questions about that.
And I also just posted oops, sorry, wrong link, but I'll post it now. The link for the public health department at Santa Clara County, which is regulating school openings, any private sector businesses, which a preschool would be. So that link is through the public health department at Santa Clara County. And I think that is it for everyone on Zoom that had questions. If anyone else has any questions, please chime in now, because I believe we are coming to a close. As always, you can always send an email to district10@sanjoseca.gov if you have any more questions. And I'll hand it back to the council member. Thank you so much, Adrian.
Yep, thank you. And thank you all of those who actually joined us today. I know that this is a different format. I prefer the face-to-face meetings myself, but please do stay in touch. I'm here to serve all of you, and my staff is here to serve all of you as well. Thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful day.